Hello and welcome to episode 2 of The Breakdown, where we pick apart each episode of the podcast, correct our mistakes, and give you little bonus facts and collectively lose our mind. Episode 2, we did part 2 of our management of pain through history, and here we are to break it down for you. So, my favourite part of this whole episode was Muhammad ibn Zakaria al-Razi, and Don's nickname for him.
Also known as Big Razes.
Big Razes. There you go. No, that's...
I would have thought I'd have said like Big Raz because that just makes more sense. But
Big Raz.
I added that as...
I like it. Big Razes. Either way, yeah, that's my favourite part. We found out about Josh's darts prowess and how he keeps all of his hobbies a secret. Like, I went to university with him for 3 years and he's been my best friend for a very long time. And
9 years.
Exactly, and still didn't know that he went fishing twice a week, basically from the age of 5, on average, yeah. And yeah, he just didn't tell me until quite recently, so there you go.
You never asked.
Fair point.
Yeah. I feel like Josh just omits the offering of any kind of information. You just have to pry it out of him.
You do.
No. If anybody asks any question to me, I'll just answer them honestly. But nobody ever does.
It's
It's quite sad.
They don't ask the right questions.
Exactly. I'm like a sphinx.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a list of hobbies and just ask you if you do them one at a time.
Oh, we shouldn't do that. There's some obscure hobbies there.
No.
Okay. Josh, can I ask you how you pronounce the past tense of treat?
Treat.
Treat.
Treated?
Treated.
Trot?
Treated. See, most people would say treated, but you chose to say trot.
90 seconds into the podcast, you'll hear Josh saying, yeah, they'd be trot with. I'll play that little clip now.
Mm-hmm. Get a lot more respect from clinicians, get a lot more honest communication, get people not trying to kind of fob me off as much.
And do you know what? I do the exact opposite. If I'm a patient, I absolutely hate mentioning I'm a doctor or bringing it up.
Interesting.
Okay,
What?
but as a clinician, yes, go explain why.
So you get treated differently. I mean, it's the pressure. It's the first time I've ever recorded myself talking. Really,
It was the second time.
Breakdown
we
on
did
the
it back to
breakdown.
back.
We did do the
We
back to
did.
back. I spoke about measuring the lungs, and that was part of the early part of my physiotherapy training. I'm now a lot further along in that training. As we record this episode of The Breakdown, I'm coming up towards doing my dissertation. I've been on lots of placements on respiratory wards and acute medical wards, and hopefully the pain research that I'm doing for my dissertation, I can share the results with you by the time you get to the episode of The Breakdown of about episode 10, but we'll see how I do. Yeah, so it wasn't just Josh who trotted his way through the episode. Don also had the bank jar, which again is another continuity error that I couldn't edit out without it completely ruining the podcast. So he was talking about the things we've learned about ourselves, jar or bank.
How have I learned those things about myself?
No, that's another sentence that makes no sense, Don. This is exactly what we're talking about.
Why would I have learned a thing about myself that is a bank or a jar?
Listen, it was when we were giving excessive facts about ourselves,
Right.
and we were saying, no facts for you next week.
Okay.
And so you were like, you can just add it to the bank or the jar, but you said the bank jar,
Oh,
which made no
right.
sense and I can't edit it out. But
Now
then
I
you just helped us
understand.
with another sentence that made absolutely no sense.
I don't make sense. in my own head.
Okay.
Moving on to someone that's not me, Josh.
Yeah?
And his weird eating habits. What was he eating at one point when he was fishing? Was it willow bark?
Yeah, so you can use willow sticks to sort of in lieu of fishing rods if you want to do it very old school. But I think I remember we was learning about Victorians at the time at primary school, and they was talking about making like aspirin from willow bark, from salicylic acid. And yeah, so they said if you actually chew willow bark, it releases a little bit of aspirin. So I tried a little bit. It was very, very bitter.
Cool.
Yeah, it tastes like aspirin.
And you did that when you were fishing, that right?
Yeah.
We actually went fishing together. I infuriated Josh.
I wouldn't say infuriated. It's just that I made a lot of assumptions about Joe's prowess at fishing and his ability to pick up fishing instantly.
Have you fished before?
No, never in my life.
And you made this assumption based on...
Common sense.
Stupidity. How many fish did I catch, Josh?
I don't know, about 4, was it?
I caught 3 and one of them fell off the hook while I was reeling it in, so I just threw it at myself. But it landed back in the water, so 3.5 fish, I would say.
Yeah, you caught a nice rod, actually.
I
got
did.
About 10, 12 ounces, yeah.
Which, you know,
Alright, okay. So do you measure the fish that you catch in ounce, like in weight or
Josh was doing it
length?
like by kind of hold that he was
Right.
measuring. We didn't actually have a scales. But
Yeah,
okay.
I bought some scales now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I didn't think it was big enough to wet the net.
It
Right.
wasn't. Yeah, we spoke about the 4 humours as well in this episode. So we spoke about like old management of balancing the humours. I went and did some digging into this and went down a rabbit hole and couldn't find any difference, according to modern medicine, between yellow and black bile. It's potentially due to bile sedimenting and separating into 2 layers if you leave it for long enough. But yellow and black bile, we just call them bile. It's the same thing.
Ah.
Disgusting.
There you go.
And what did we mention about acupuncture?
Yeah, we mentioned that. How many years ago was it? Was it 6,000?
6,000 years ago, there's evidence of acupuncture.
Yeah, it's just like, how are they cleaning those needles? It's just like hepatitis for everybody. Like, you get hepatitis, you get hepatitis, you get hepatitis.
Yeah, Josh just asked. I said I'm not sure what the evidence was because the paper didn't say it, and Josh was just like, they're just like old needles.
Just giving them a little lick after they're done.
I was more just thinking, did they survive that long? But you know,
Oh, right.
there you go. And that was about it, really. I think.
I think so, yeah.
So a nice short breakdown for you today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we got better from the first episode. I think that's.
Yeah, I mean that's the good thing. There's fewer mistakes in this episode.
Yeah, I found that once we get into a bit of a rhythm, because we usually record about 4 to 5 to 6 to multiple episodes in a weekend, and by like the second, third one, we found our momentum.
Our groove.
Yeah.
So really, we should write scrap episodes and record them first to get into the swing of it. But we're
yeah,
just not that
'cause-
good. We don't have the time.
Yeah, because that's not any more difficult. Yeah.
So consider episode 2 broken down. Get yourself listening to the podcast next week, and tune in for the next episode of the breakdown here on the Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks again so much to everyone listening to this. You are helping to keep this podcast alive. You help to keep us traveling to see each other, to pay for us to eat.
And for our OneDrive subscriptions.
Oh God, files are so big.
Oh, we didn't mention that on the.
On our future episode about growing pains
Yeah.
that we haven't recorded. Well, you have recorded. We're sorry to ruin the. We've done a big backlog. You'll hear about that in episode 12. So that gives you a reason to keep listening.
Yeah. And with that, I think we'll say goodbye.
That's a goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him. Goodbye.